There we go, sound. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so now we're on, and it looks like we're good in every place, right? Okay, so today I want to talk about, you can see behind me this initial scene out of Resident Evil, which obviously was groundbreaking in a lot of ways. It really helped launch what has been a major series. I mean, this is one of the most successful like game to movie to art animation series that we've ever seen. Like very few things touch what Resident Evil has accomplished. Let's be really honest here, right? So I wanted to break the scene down because I think like they start really a new mythology with this Resident Evil movie. So let's kind of get into some of these scenes. Now, you see they started off, let's go back a little bit. I'm going to take you back a little bit so you can see how they really start this scene off. And it starts off super, good morning guys, welcome Cosmic Beef and Frederick, welcome in. Right, so now this is how we kind of get into it, right? Come on, I hate this remote. Okay. So, this starts off like your standard movie, right? And we have no clue. I mean, if you play the game, now, interestingly enough, I didn't play the game before watching the movie. So my first exposure, I'm sure my roommates played it. At the time when this came out, my roommates played the game, right? I didn't necessarily play the game. I remember one night attempting to play it, and it was too scary for me. Like, I'm not going to joke with you. We had the whole surround sound, so I didn't really watch them, It was already a game. I lived with two other guys, right? Just your normal post-college kind of setup.
The Umbrella Corporation will become the largest commercial company in the United
But the first thing that they do
9 out of every 10 homes
is that they introduce
its political and financial
this as
felt everywhere.
a new model for business, right? This is the first thing. In this first initial, scene, 9 out of every 10 products comes from this company, the Umbrella Corporation, right? So we are heading into a new kind of mythology about corporations. Like, this is kind of a defining moment for our generation, and we've seen predecessors leading up to this. If you go back and you watch like E.T., right? E.T. was really about the government. Like, a lot of movies were about the government just really tripping. Like E.T., Mac and Me, the whole alien thing, even, a brother from another planet. It was focusing on the government. By this time, we started focusing on the corporations, and the corporations, like, it was slowly building. If you look at some other sci-fi movies prior to this, like, Man's Best Friend, then the movie Daryl, even The Fly. This was about, like, corporations, and most notably, biotech, who was the ones that was tripping. So that's what we get out of this scene, right? The initial setup is like, yeah, biotech is tripping, and they're always tripping, right? And we can kind of say, yeah, we agree with this. We agree with this so much that we don't really argue it. And this becomes the archetype, right? So now we're going into a different realm of our corporations. This is before any zombies. So before all this stuff is before any zombies get on the scene, right? So let me kind of get you to where they're at with this and why this is an important scene, right?
World's leading
All
supplier.
right. So they spend about 3 or 4 minutes just kind of educating us on, like, they're into everything. How would you allow this company to be into everything? It's biotech, it's healthcare, it's everything. This is where this company is at. And they're just going over how many employees it has. It's into the military. It's political. And this is kind of where we live right now. A lot of this is actually foreshadowing for what we actually would get. Like, when you see a company, like, this is essentially Elon Musk getting access to the government just because he's a businessman. That's when you start to cross this line. And I'm not saying that Elon Musk leads to Resident Evil, but I'm saying Resident Evil also had that kind of control, right? So viral reparee. So they do everything, right? They do literally everything. Biotech, weaponry, your healthcare. Like 9 out of 10 homes have one of their products inside. So this is a whole new day in terms of, what the corporate influence. Like I said, it's slowly been growing. But Coca-Cola kind of stays to making beverages, right? Maybe they get into some snacks, right? Disney, for the most part, just makes entertainment. I know they probably do some other, side stuff we don't know about, but they're not into the political system. Like, so this is very, very different. Even when we looked at like Engine, right, the Jurassic Park corporate entity, right, they weren't really involved with the government. The government was kind of working against them. So that's what's different with Resident Evil. And we got to acknowledge like what. So this is what they go through, like letting you know the first several minutes. They're just letting you know how much this place has control over your government. That's the first thing. And then let's talk about also the music. Like the music is a major component. And we'll talk about the theme because it's kind of a loop. It's an endless, and it's a little bit of dread. So we start off like the whole company's theme song is kind of endless dread, right? So we already know this. And then we get to this scene right here. And the other part that comes in with Resident Evil is we start talking about the evil AI. The Red Queen. So this is the first time someone was really giving us an insight to all these things at once. And then you see this thing, right? Let's get a little closer here. Okay, so now we know, after finding out how much control and insight and influence you have in our healthcare system, in every normal part of our lives, right? Then we show you this. Like, and this is really important. We haven't seen any zombies yet. Right? All we see is scientists doing what we can assume are just regular things. But we really got to look at this because what it's giving us right now, we don't know it yet, but we're seeing the T virus. We're seeing how this has to be handled. We're seeing what this company is. So this right off the bat, within a couple of minutes of the entire movie series, they've already let us know what the problem is and how you need to handle this problem because they're trying to keep it away from themselves. But we get a lot. So this is who the corporation is. This massive corporation. And why they want to do this stuff, you can be making money so many other ways. It's because you're evil. So this is really one of our first introductions into like the evil corporation on this scale, right? And we can see how he's handling it. He's in a suit, right? So you got layers and layers of protection because of how dangerous this thing is. This doesn't seem like healthcare anymore, right? Like this doesn't look like healthcare anymore. And it's because it's not healthcare anymore. This is something else. And they're kind of showing it by having this visual here where it kind of looks like a DNA strand, right? That's what they're going for here. The directors, the people who put this film together, and brilliantly done because symbolically now your brain is already associating this with genetic material, that this is what it is. This is a biotech division. They're producing something that looks like a genetic strand, and we see it live on the screen, the T virus. And the T virus would be the most notorious virus of all times. I don't know if there's any other virus that outdoes the T virus, right? So let's move forward in this. So we're seeing the T virus for the first time, right? The steady thing, and there's this alt version because we know there's a cure as well. Right, so very rarely do you see the problem and the cure together at the same time on screen. But that's what they go ahead and give you. So we know that both these components are going to be very important. The director, the writer, they're not bullshitting around. They get right to it. This is what you guys need to be focused on. This thing here that never says any words is the most important rulers of this world, of the Resident Evil world. So let's kind of get back into it here. And we see like, okay, this whole like setup right here really combines a lot visually, right? It's aesthetically clean. That's super important. Then the injection system there, looking itself like a gun. Like this is the whole kit. This is everything you need, right? To administer the virus and to cure the virus. And there's a purpose that it looks like a gun in an espionage type briefcase. This is establishing what we know about the company. And we're seeing all these stuff come together. Again, a lot of us come from the James Bond era. The people who directed this probably would have been my era, right, in terms of like what media. So the briefcase automatically locks it in as like corporate espionage. So this is kind of how they're building up. So we're tying a lot into it. This is not just a happy-go-lucky company that is making like wind turbines or something like that. They got a lot going on. A lot is riding on what they do, and there's a reason all this looks so sanitized, so not touched by humans. That's the important thing that they're setting up right here. While the stake, no words. Remember, nothing's being said in this early part. They're allowing just the visuals and the music to tell the story. And now we're getting the story of this company, of the Umbrella Corporation, and particularly this virus. So let's keep on going. I'll give you guys a little bit more. So again, how they spend a lot, and this part where this thing locks, that's a lot, right? Right? Let's talk about it here. Come on. So how this whole locking mechanism really shows you how important this is. That this is something that like we can't let anybody get their hands on, right? So I mean that's the implement that I'm getting here is this steel box. This is more than just a spot. This is James Bond wouldn't even be handling something like this, right? This is beyond even Bond. So you got everything locked in here. The virus itself, the most dangerous virus on the planet, right? You have the antidote for the virus. We don't know this stuff yet, but again, this is brilliant foreshadowing because all this stuff will be super important later in the story. Like this will be what their whole pursuit is to get to this cure for the virus, right? So we see this, it's locked down, right? We see how, like, even within that, it was still locked away. So again, they're keeping it very, very static for their own purposes, but corporate sabotage, which we see, is always the factor that no one can ever anticipate. And we see him like dealing with it, pulling out of the storage, right? They have to keep this stuff clean. So are they doing a good job with this unsettling music going in the background? 100%, right? Okay, come on. And then this moment here, right? So we still don't know a lot about the T virus yet. We know it's important. We know this is how you handle this stuff. Nobody wants to touch it. So when we see this guy casually fling this thing through the air, we already know it's a problem. Nobody else in the corporation does. So this is going to be a problem only for them, not for us as the audience. But this is a moment as the audience, you're like, uh-oh. And this is the beginning. Like this moment here launched, 7 or 8 movies and several animes that would go along with it. This moment here, right? So he hurls this thing into the air, right? And we see it crash. And now it's open and the door sealed, right? And this thing's out. Now the virus is out. No matter what they do, this virus is now in existence. It's in full effect. The virus is like, yeah, I just had my quinceañera. I grew up today and I escaped. So this is what we see going on. It's just really building up. So what would happen next? Okay. Now it's in the air ducts. And this is brilliantly done. This is well done. How they kind of show us it's travel. This is an invisible virus, but yet somehow, and now this is the first time we get to people. All this stuff is going on. And who is this guy here? This is a regular ass dude. This is a regular ass dude working a corporate job. This is us. This is Joe Nobody. Because we don't even care who this guy is. Maybe we see his name badge. And he's just dealing with corporate life. All of us deal with this. Now, in corporate life, I would say, this is the moment, right, where it really reveals him. In corporate life, you don't walk around with a cup of coffee without a goddamn lid on it. That doesn't happen. And you can see how everybody reacts. Like, you can see she's looking back. There's a guy up in front. Let me see if I can get that. Everybody's kind of looking, they do kind of give him, this guy gives him attention, everybody's kind of looking at him in this event, but the person who did it doesn't even stop. So that's telling you, you imagine you get to work, it's whatever day, Tuesday, this seems like a Tuesday. This doesn't seem like the end of the week or anything. You got your nice jacket, you got your full-on suit, your shirt's pristine, and now you got coffee on you for the rest of the day. That's kind of what you have to deal with while everyone's in this aesthetically clean environment. So this is an important moment, kind of showing us what's gonna matter later. Like, this ain't gonna matter to you, right? You think it's gonna matter, but enough. Everybody's just going about our corporate day. This is feeling very much like just regular corporate life. and even a girl that you see that you might want to flirt with. So this is what corporate life is. We're all just cogs. But this is an important moment here. This is an important moment right here. Okay, let's stop right here. The dogs. And again, because dogs are always warning signs in a lot of things. Their heightened sense of smell. These dogs already know something's wrong. Now you see this first dog, he lifts his head, he's like, uh-oh, right? Because he's smelling stuff coming through the vent, right? So the dog is your early warning system. This is the canary. And the dogs will be on the first to get mutated. So this virus, like right off the bat, we know that this virus is not just about humans. It's able to affect other forms of life as well. So now this is really, they've given us a whole different thing. It's completely invisible. It may not be odorless because the dogs are able to pick up, but we probably can't sell it. And we're going through. So the dogs, this is just like my dogs, right? Anytime something bad is happening, your dogs start going crazy. And that's what these dogs are doing. They don't know what the fuck is going on, but they're like, yeah, something ain't right. They're feeling it. They're smelling it. They're smelling death coming in here. Something is not right. And these dogs are not having it, right? So the dogs go crazy. This is your first early warning sign. And this would be the aftermath of the lab. Now, this is an important moment too, because this is actually the first time that we get a sign of the Red Queen, the AI intelligence. And that's another important thing now. Resident Evil is primarily about the virus. It's primarily about zombies. But you notice we haven't seen any zombies yet, right? Because they're setting everything else up. It is still a story about corporations, and it ultimately has a side story about artificial intelligence. Now, it only stays in a couple of the films, right? They don't, once society really gets torn down, they don't really focus on, a figure being like the Red Queen. But she's dominant in this, and this is the first time we see her perspective, because she is the system. And then the system is monitoring what's going on. It has its own agency, scanning system activation. It's showing a camera number, internal lab 13. So we get a lot by just looking at what's on the screen. Internal lab 13, section 8, level 6. We build a lot of infrastructure just based on what we're seeing in this scene right here. This is brilliantly done. We don't even realize at the moment that we're getting a third-party perspective, that we're getting someone else's perspective, but that's what the directors are feeding us in this moment right here. Well done, because now we're starting to get a little bit more of the scope, how big this facility is, how many laboratories are there, what kind of surveillance system that they have. So this is massively important for understanding, and it pretty quickly, right, okay, let me go back, let me touch back just a little bit, okay, if I can here, okay. Went back a little too far. Well, you guys are gonna have to sit with me while I get to this scene. All right, so I'm kind of back to where the dogs are. All right. And we see the people, and then again, so the surveillance system is tracking everything at this point, and it identifies, right? This is where the computer system itself has to say, because it just identified this problem, and it already knows what this is. Now you see that it's already tracking the T virus. Everything instantly is already in line. It already knows that there's a biohazard here. It's detected the T virus. It's analyzing it. It's telling you how much oxygen is in here. It's telling you how much T virus is in the oxygen. It's at 10.42 particles, right, per whatever volume that it's using per volume. So it identifies it early. But let's go further. Let's go further, right? And it's like, it's a biohazard, okay? But I'm gonna let everybody walk in here. This is what the problem is. This is where there's a corporate, it already has detected before they got in here that there is a biohazard. Whether it could have locked them out at this point, I think is the first real question. And in an environment like this where you're working with the biohazard that can be airborne, having unsealable vents is probably extremely problematic. I don't know how much more it would have cost them to have a sealed vent system that's sealed off from, so your own air recycles. I don't know how much it would have cost them for a laboratory like this, but probably well worth it. Probably worth that investment at this point, right? So anyway, you got the coworkers. Now we're all happy-go-lucky coworkers. We don't know anything's going on. We're happy-go-lucky, and just like that, now we know it's a problem. Everybody knows, man, this girl is cute right here too. Now it's a problem. And you know what? We already can't get out. We are like that. Early warning system operates the way that it should, and the way that it should operate is your ass is stuck up in here. And we instantly see the panic. Because I'm sure these guys are like, I work for, because there's a lot of divisions here. All of them aren't the bioweapons division, right? Or even if this is bioweapons, this could just be bio research. But whatever. And you notice, like, this is also very important. Look how everyone is kind of attired. No loud colors. Everyone's more muted colors. Grays. We've seen dark suits. The only real color that we've seen so far has been the T-virus, the green and the blue. There's only people who are rocking any colors right now. Everyone else got the memo. So now they're like, uh-oh, now we're stuck here, right? And this is going to be a problem because we start to see the panic instantly. And I'm watching you, right? It's watching everybody. It knows exactly what's going on, and it ain't letting nobody out. You're in the elevator, and let me tell you guys something right now. I already have a fear elevator, so this will be a nightmare. Although I think this girl's pretty nice. She's gonna get it the worst, right? And our regular guy, who you're gonna find out how much they don't care about you today at work. I hope you already got paid. I hope you're paid. I hope you at least get your paycheck that your family can use, because you guys ain't gonna make it up out of here, right? This is you work for an evil corporation. And in the lab, okay? The lab's freaking out too, right? They're trying to cover up stuff, right? Dogs are back at it going crazy. It's fully set off at this moment, right? And this guy's like, what's going on with these dogs? Okay. Now, it gives you a classic elevator scene, which is terrifying. To be trapped in an elevator and the power just went out. And you work for this company. And they don't care. So she's calling in, get us some help, right? It knows you're there. It's analyzing your voice patterns.
The doors won't open.
Yeah. And it's telling you, there ain't no fire here. Stop it, because this is a sealed room. Now, this is an important thing, because it seals the room now. Now it's a sealed room. So how the fuck did the air get out if it's a sealed room? That's what the problem. And these guys are like, I want to live. I don't want to die for this corporation. But this, right, there it is, right? Now the sealed room is no longer sealed. And you see panic starting to set in all over the building, right? Again, this is terrifying, and we haven't seen a zombie yet. We've only seen these people dealing with emergencies, a virus, and their own internal system. And this shot tells you, like, nothing sabotaged the elevators. There's no destruction at this point. So why did the elevators go down? This has got to be the Red Queen. So again, the company's making a decision, right? You're not getting out of here. This is part of the lockdown. Nobody gets out of here because it knows you're probably already contaminated, right? And this is what it's telling you. All this ride down. And think about how terrifying this is for the people inside. You're at work. This stuff isn't supposed to happen at work, but here it is. This is your job. Hope you had a good 401k, and I know those health benefits are probably great because you guys had a healthcare division right there. So they're involving a lot of things, like getting all these people that are trapped. We obviously start to feel a sense of dread. We start to feel what they're feeling. Again, it's terrifying. You're trapped, right? At this point, we didn't even realize that they're underground. At least I didn't realize that they're underground. So this adds to the confinement level that they're actually dealing with, right? And this is becoming more, and again, it's important to understand that the surveillance system is watching all this. The surveillance system is watching every single part of this, and it's still measuring what is in the air, how, like, the mortality rate as these people die. There's not one thing that is done to protect any of these employees. Nothing. So when we talk about the myth of the evil corporations, and again, these guys are in a competition with some other notable evil corporations. Weyland-Yutani, notable evil corporation. What was one in the engine company creating dinosaurs all over the place? But none of them don't care about their employees to this level. At least it doesn't, like Weyland-Yutani's pretty bad, right? But I've never seen him just openly get. I mean, again, this is debatable. But this is where they're showing you that we are competing among the worst companies because we're right there. We're willing to do this to our own employees. Willing to watch them gas out. We're recording them dying. And this gives us an idea of how effective the T virus actually is. So there they are. They're all dead. Now, does it kill them? So, right? And this is the, okay, so in the lab they're dead, which is sealed in. Now we get to the elevator scene. And this young lady here who has a strong desire to live. So they're like, let's try to figure this out. We're in this together, right? She's peeking out. And they see all these dead people. Now they see how they survived, but they got to get out of here. This is a panic situation. It's a steel box. All the power is out. You're underground. No one can even get into this facility. At this point, you're 100% relying on the company employees to get you out, or you better do it yourself, which is what this young, very thin lady decides to do on her own. She's got some nice arms there. She's got some strength in there, right? And it's watching her. Again, this is where you start to see the multiple threats. Not only, it's not just the virus, and then it starts, when it sees you, it moves the elevator, and they hear it, right? It moves the brake, right? You see it. So this is the system working against her. This is the Red Queen. We don't know. She hasn't revealed herself yet, but we can get it right now. That there's an entity at work that is making some decisions about not just if they're going to die, right? How. And this is how it really comes on. This is how this series starts off terrifying. We haven't met Alice, who is going to be our protagonist throughout this. In fact, that would be the very next scene. It would bring us to this moment where we do see Alice, right? It brings us here, where now she's on the scene. But all prior to that, we're really just dwelling in a magnificent setup. Before anything happens, before our star gets on the scene, the star who would become kind of mythic herself. This was Mila establishing a mythic character as well. We'll talk about Alice and how she became elevated to this mythic level, right? Because that's a very important part of what Resident Evil gives us as well. But we're able to go through the establishing moments of this film and never have to see we did not see a zombie yet. We did not see any humans. We didn't see anybody even get bit yet. We didn't see all the stuff that would be the driving forces of Resident Evil. But we already understand what's going on. It's brilliantly done that it creates this terrifying, really a classic scene of setup. All important stuff that you need without saying anything. Relative to the length of the scene, which is, I think it's like roughly 7 minutes or 5 minutes or so. There's very little dialogue that happens. And all the dialogue is reactive dialogue. There's no explain. Dialogue is used to explain a situation or to give you the character's insights. They don't give you anything hardcore about what's going on. No one says the T virus out. No one mentions the T virus. So we're several minutes into it and there's no mention of the T virus. We see it, and by the actions we get to understand how deadly the T virus is. We understand that it's invisible. We understand that it's airborne, right? We see that pretty quickly. We understand that in sealed containment rooms are necessary for this room. And even, from the time that the AI, and then the AI is present, from the time that the AI, who would be revealed as the Red Queen, from the time that she detects the virus, there's nothing that she does to try to save any human lives. Maybe because she already knows it's done. It could be that she's operating from a standpoint that it's already over, it's done, these people are all infected. I have to seal the entire facility. Or is it that this is just how the system operates? This is part of the cover-up. And if you've got that much detection going on, how come you didn't see the guy inside the room who threw the virus? That's when you see all these cameras that are getting everything, they would have detected this guy walking in. It would not have been flagged as some type of unauthorized entry. This guy had to have a card of somehow to get in there. So there's a lot that we get out of this scene, and it sets the stage for what would be a prolific film series that would kind of, and we again, to talk about Resident Evil and to not once talk about any of the zombies, that's a major thing, because we're not even there yet. And the zombies would dominate from a few minutes after she wakes up here, and her waking up scene, we'll talk about that separately and how powerful that scene was. But this is what we're getting. Resident Evil goes to great lengths, writing-wise, directorial-wise, to really establish what would be. This is how you establish a series where you can get 7 iterations off of it, or 7, sequels off of this film, by setting it up very well. This and this is where a lot of times I think video game movies specifically fall apart in the storytelling. They may have a good idea in the game, but gameplay and movie watching are not necessarily the same thing. This is one of the films that establishes a whole new mythology. This film would change how we view zombies. That'll be an important conversation, and I'm going to talk about the zombie effect later, and it also influences how we would affect artificial intelligence. So this goes back to having conversations about Skynet, about ChatGTP, about everything related to that, because we're getting who the Red Queen was, and we're getting a kind of a, as she gets revealed, more and more of her kind of emotional set. So I just wanted to go over this quick 5 minutes of the film, kind of do a quick breakdown on it. If you guys enjoy these breakdowns, please like and subscribe. And I do have a YouTube channel where I go in even deeper dives into films just like this. So I'm going to log this one off, but please thank you for stopping in. You guys can give me a like, it really helps the channel grow. Definitely appreciate you guys spending your time with me, but please hit those like buttons for me. We're just trying to get this thing off the ground.